All right, everybody loves to have a look in the tackle boxes, so gonna just talk about treble hooks. I'm a picky hook guy. I've showed this box off many times in the last few years, but this is my treble hook box that I carry with me. So a Plano 3700 deep. You can put a lot of stuff in here, and this little box is what I keep a lot of the ones that I use the most in. You know, my number 4 EWGs, number 4, you know, 2X gammies, but got a variety of hooks in there. In the box here, I've got, that's some tails for topwaters, jerkbaits. I tie those myself. And then just a whole variety of different treble hooks that, you know, that I use quite a bit. So I'm gonna go over just some of the different hooks that I like on different baits, because, you know, everyone always talks about changing out their trebles, but some are thicker, some are lighter wire, and they're all sort of made for different situations. So this is my box of big square bills, and you know, when we go to some of the big bass places, Lake Fork, I've actually caught a lot of fish on this, but that's a big square bill that'll go like 12 feet. I've got some big, heavy, those are 2-aught Gamakatsu short shank EWGs. I want a strong hook. I'm throwing that big bait on a flipping stick, 20-pound fluoro, and you know, baits like that, I'm putting big hooks, big heavy hooks on. You know, going into my Bagley Balsa box, sort of go with 2 different options on some of these baits. So that's a little flat B2. That's sort of a subtle crankbait. I'm typically going to throw that on pretty light line, cold water. I've got some Gamakatsu G finesse trebles on there. So those are light wire, small barb. They're going to penetrate really good. They're very sharp. But, you know, at the same time, if I'm going to go, you know, into a shallow situation or fish around some cover, fish for bigger fish, that's a diving B1, and I've got some short shank EWG trebles on that. They're a little bit heavier wire, you know, but it's just all about matching up the treble hooks to the, you know, the size of the fish that you're after, the cover that you're fishing. But that's G finesse treble hooks on that. That's a Sunny B crankbait, another little square bill that Bagley makes. And they're pretty strong. As light a wire as they are, they're strong. Those are actually the new medium heavy ones, so they're actually a little bit heavier gauge than the regular G finesse trebles. But good quality stuff. All my tournament baits, I'm changing out the hooks on. Picky hook guy. Jerk baits. Generally with jerk baits, we want to run some lighter wire trebles. You know, generally we're using 10 or 12-pound fluorocarbon, that sort of thing. So I carry a whole variety of jerk baits with me. Those are some old Jackal squad minnows, nicely tangled. But that, you know, I got some G finesse trebles on that one. Some of the Mega Bass stuff. You know, definitely putting the G finesse trebles on all my jerk baits. One thing that I will do is sometimes put a little bit bigger hook on the, you know, on the front of these baits if I want them to sink a little bit, dive a little bit deeper. That's one sort of trick that we like to do, and you know, but changing out the hooks is a big deal, and you know, matching the right hook to the situation is important as well. So yeah, there's my jerk baits. Everyone loves to see all that stuff. Got some little X-wraps in there. I mean, caught a ton of fish on those over the years. But yeah, those are sort of the baby jerk baits. These are some of the diving, smaller bodied ones. Some Jackal stuff, some Mega Bass stuff. Catch a lot of fish on these Rapala shadow wraps, the diving one as well. Obviously the diving 110 Mega Bass, good bait. But yeah, that's my jerk baits. Going to topwaters, we've got a little more variety here with the topwater baits. So, you know, a prop bait like this Bagley, you know, I was using this down in Florida earlier, so I've got the short shank EWGs on here. Those are heavy duty. just because I'm fishing for big fish around pads, a little bit of cover. But if I'm, you know, in a situation where up north smallmouth fishing, I might, you know, just go with the stock hooks. They're a little bit lighter, or put the G finesse trebles on those baits. But that's a really good topwater. Obviously popular down in Florida, but they work great for smallmouths up north as well. It's a kind of a cool perch pattern. I'm a big fan of the pop R, just the old school big pop R. All of these I make my own tails for, and you can see that's a well-used one. But on these, I'm a big fan. I've used these hooks forever, but that's just a Gamakatsu 2X treble. So you can use, I like to throw these with braid and on a fairly heavy rod. Like when I'm up fishing at home on Rainy Lake, we're fishing these around a lot of reeds and grass, heavy cover. So you got to muscle them a little bit, and you know, same with if I'm down south somewhere. I'm putting a little bit heavier hooks on some of those baits. You know, some of the big walking baits, like that one, I've got the G finesse trebles on. So that's one that I'm using for smallmouths, maybe up north, where on a long cast I can, you know, get a good penetration. And then, you know, on some of these, I'll actually have the this one here. I've got the 2X gammies in this one. So that's just a little bit heavier hook if I'm fishing for bigger fish, using braid, that sort of thing. But there you go. You can have a little look in my topwater box. A lot of walking baits, a lot of pop Rs, some little small ones, some different prop baits. That's you know, a bait like that. Balsa. I got some lighter G finesse trebles on that one. And yeah, a few whopper plopper kind of baits. Don't think I've ever caught a bass on one of those yet. Never use them. Probably should. But yeah, there's one of the Bagley walking baits, and I've got my own tail on that one. Some upgraded hooks. But that's a really good. That's my favorite new walking bait. And these come in two sizes. That's the 09, really good smallmouth bait, perfect size for them. And you know, you can put the big hooks on there. It's not gonna disturb the action of the bait. It's still gonna work good. But that's a bunch of my hard baits and how I sort of choose which trebles to put on them.